Hi guys, so let's start our new class, and in this class we're going to create one more blueprint, and a blueprint that's going to be really useful for you in ArcViz, which is a TV blueprint, so that we can play a video on the screen. We'll put it right here in our living room. Okay, cool. So of course here we're going to be dealing with videos in Unreal, and there are some important details and ways of working that we just have to bear in mind when we do that. So we'll show you step by step so we can get it working in the most, the most successful way. I don't know why, but Unreal itself, in its documentation, it asks us to follow set procedures for putting in videos in Unreal. So it's important we stick to that. It must be to do with the way things are structured. But it doesn't make a difference if you don't follow it. Okay, so we're just going to stick to the way that it should be done. So here's what we'll do. We'll show you step by step what needs to be done. The first thing we must do is it's mandatory that we do it this way. Inside the project content browser, just here, under content, we must have a folder called movies. You see I've got one here already. Just the way I've laid it out, do the same. And it must be added straight into the content folder. Okay, it can't be inside another folder. It must be just after content. First thing is creating this folder. Okay, and it's empty right now, and that's how we want it. Then we need to create this or find this folder on our Window Explorer, and that's where we're going to be saving the files, our video files that we're going to be using. So this folder is created here in Unreal. Next, we have to go to the location in Windows Explorer of our project, and we can see there's a project, there are folders. The BP ArcViz house is the project, and when we create the project, it creates these folders. You know this by now, of course, but here you can see there's the movie folder. Okay, so we've got the folders just as we need so far. Now what do we need to do? But we need to copy the video file that we're going to be using into the movies folder. So this is how I do it. Select the videos first that we want to use, and we're going to copy them and go into movies, and we'll paste them into here. Great. So copying has been completed. We'll go back into Unreal, and inside the movies folder, we need to import them here as well. Okay, so just go to import, and you can see here already in the under content, movies, there are our files. So we just need to import those two. You might think it doesn't make sense to do it this way, but that's the way we have to do it. Okay, so it's created these two files, which are not actual video files. As the name says, they are file media sources. Okay, so slightly different to what you probably imagined would be the format. When we click on them, you can see here it's given us the file path to the videos, to the source file. Okay, which we just seen in the Windows Explorer. So it's created a reference for us, which is great. We'll just dock that up here, and then the next step. This is the location of our files in Unreal. If we want to use this in our project, we have to create a media player, and the media player will enable us to play the content. Okay, so let's do that. Right click, and then make sure we're in the right folder under movies. Right click and go to media and choose media player, and the window pops up asking us if you want to add assets and link them to the media, such as audio or whatever. But you just select that where it says video output media texture asset. What it does is it's asking if you want to create a texture, okay, with the video media player. So tick that as well and press OK. And I'll just rename this and call it TV_my_player. Great. So it's created a media player and the textures here as well. Okay. So obviously if you didn't tick that option, it wouldn't show you that texture. So then when we open them up, we've got here the media sources already. So then I need to open the media source that I want to be using. And I'll go with the first one here, v_living video. And let's get it started. So it starts running and it shows the video that I've chosen. All good so far? Perfect. Okay. Now, if I pause it, I can save it. And here we have a few options such as play on open, so that when I open it, it starts playing. We can shuffle and loop. I'll enable loop because if the video starts and runs for a long time, then it'll just loop back round, okay? It's better if it just restarts on its own. Just enable that and save. Cool. So we have the path to the video. We have the video that we want. And we have a texture from the media player, right? So if we want to use this in our scene, we have to create a material for it. And then we can apply that material to the static mesh, i.e. our TV. Okay? So if you want to create a TV with the video running, that's what we have to do. Okay? So that's why, of course, it's given us that texture here, which is really important. So all I have to do now is create a material. I'll create a new one and I'll use this texture as a traditional material, or like a default material. I'll create a master material called LED TV. Okay, so there we go. There we have our default or traditional material, or regular material. I'll create a texture here as if it was a JPEG. I can just press T as well. That's a little shortcut to create that. So that's T in the mouse button, the right mouse button, left mouse button rather. There we go. So in here, we just put in our video texture that was generated. We can see it here, TV_my_player. And then it adds this texture here. Perfect. And so then I can create the material any way that I want. I can use a multiply here, so I have control of its intensity. I can control that through B. I just made a parameter here. And for the texture, I just need the ability really to enhance its glow, don't I? As it's a TV image. Convert it to a parameter and name it base color intensity. Okay, so I'll add it into base color and I'll link it to emissive color as well. And so there we go. We've got our video here as a texture. Okay, so it just takes a while to load sometimes, you might find, but if you follow these steps, you should be able to get it previewing there and just apply and save. Very good. All right, so we've created our material. We've imported our video. We've created the media player as well. We generated the texture from the media player with the texture. We've created the material. So all good to go. Right. So from these things that we've created, we can now create our blueprint. So let's do that together. I'll create a blueprint, a blueprint from scratch this time. Oops, not in that folder. Create a blueprint actor type, and I'll name it BP_LED TV. I'm sure you're getting a hang of all things blueprint by now. So there we go. We have a blank blueprint, and I'll add the TV mesh, the static mesh here under static mesh for my component. There we go. Let's call it TV. And then let's drag in the TV mesh that we've got in our project. Just this one here. Let's put it in there. And I'll set it as a root here. Okay, so we don't need the root, just have the TV there instead. Cool. So we have practically everything here that we need so far. So now let's make the blueprint behind it. Go to the event graph. And this blueprint will be started with the first person. So do you remember how we need to do that? That's it, class settings. We need to add in our interaction that we created. And then I'll also add an event for the interaction. So search interact. There we go, event interact. So that will enable us to trigger the TV. First thing we need to do is, for example, I need to have a material, don't I, which is here, MI plastic black 02, and then when I push the button, it's going to change the material to our video material. So let's start from this point, and then we'll move forward. Let's use that node that we used in previous classes, which is the set material node. So I'll drag in our mesh to our graph and type set material. Okay, cool. And I'll link these. And here I'll choose the index, the material index for our TV. Which one is it? There we go, number 1. So I'll set this to 1. And the material is the one we just created, which is MLED TV. Perfect. So we don't even need to create instance materials because we don't need to change anything. We just add it like this, okay? So when I click this, it will change the TV material, right? It's just to the material that we want, our video. And when I want to turn the TV or turn it off, it will switch back. So we can use the flip-flop, duplicate this, and link this with the same index and set it to the black material. Let's copy that. There we go. And this one, put it in there. There we go. So we got our 2 different materials when it's on and when it's off. So the part of changing materials is already working. Let's push play. Oh, we have to add it to our scene first, don't we? Don't forget to do that. Let's get our blueprint. There we go. Let's put it up here on the wall. And just adjust it so it's in the right position. Nice. Okay. Right. So we've got our TV now in position. And let's just, yeah, make it. You might as well do it properly, hey? Cool. So there we go. The TV is in the scene. So this part should work now when we press play. Oh, I think I'm on the couch, aren't I? Let's move forward. There we go. So push play. I'll press it, and you see it's changing, but nothing's happening. But that's okay. But at least it's changing. So we've only enabled the change material. So we didn't do anything with the video yet. So that's the part we'll do now. Okay. But at least we know that part's working. I need to make the video play then. So we already have it changing material. We need to give it some, you know, a bit of power to do something. So let's see some details that we need to bear in mind first. To make the video play, I need to reference the video. So I need to get a reference for the video player. And this is just, you know, just for the TV here where we need to do this. I don't think you need to do it on many other types of blueprints, but you might find it necessary to do again. But hey, focusing on the TV, we need to get a reference to that. Okay, so I can make a reference through a direct variable, and I can do it this way, and I'll create a variable called my media player. And what type of variable will it be? Well, there is a variable here called media player. Okay, so we just type in media player, and you want this one here under object types. Okay, that's going to be our reference. So I've created it, and now I can compile, because then it will open up some more options. So for example, this, I can choose my media player, and I can put it in there, compile again and save. Great. And now I have a variable which is a reference to my media player. Great. So let's add this, put it here. And now we'll be able to push play. So how do we push play? Well, first we need to open the file before doing anything. So there is a node called open source. Let's type that in here. Open source is there. Okay, so that's got my media player, and I want to open the file. So I'll tell it which one I want to open. Which specific video is it from our list? It's this one here. So I'll select living video. Great. And now I can link this to the material. So my media player then is here. You'll open the media player from the source here for it to get ready to play. Okay, and it played the video we've chosen. So now, of course, I need to do the reverse order, don't I? Which is for when it's being turned off. So there is a node called close. We'll search for that. And from the media player, I can close my media player. There we go. Pretty simple, right? So I can play it, change the material, and open the file of the video that we want to play on screen. So let's test it now. Let's get over to our TV. Click. Okay, you see that? Let's do it again. Let's click it on. Okay, so clearly you can see it's flickering a little bit at the beginning. I think this is probably a bug with Unreal. I don't know why it does that at the beginning, because it shouldn't do. But of course, we'll find a way to sort it out. That's okay. But as you can see, it's playing now, right? And the material changes when we click to start and to finish. But there isn't any sound for some reason. And this is something that Unreal does. It separates the video from the sound because it's a texture. There's no song applied to it. So we need to add sounds. But it's not the audio that the method of adding audio that we used before, because we need it to be associated with the media. So the media sound is the one that we'll add. I'll keep the same name, and here we'll have my media sound. And then I have the same resources and spatialization that we had before, that we saw in the class on making the record player. So we can adjust how it sounds depending on where the player is in the room. So you can tweak all these different settings down here. So here I'll select my TV player. Right? Cool. So there we go. So that should play through the audio now. And let's go over to it and play. And then if I click it again, it's going to go off again. And it's turned on. All right, so basically this is what we have to do. We have to follow these steps to enable Unreal to play videos. It might seem long-winded, but that's the way we have to do it. So what can we do now to improve the quality of this blueprint? Well, what we can do is remove that glitch at the beginning of the video where it's flickering. So to do so, what can we do? Well, there is a resource that I found really useful for these sorts of things, and that's creating a short delay right before the video right before the materials change. So what I will do here is I'll reverse the position of these. Remember, the order makes a difference in Unreal, so we don't want to mess about with it too much. But I'll reverse these and I'll just explain. So first is opening the file, and this one is for closing. Okay, then it switches the material. So I add in a half-second delay into here. Type in delay and put the time in, half a second. Then it's going to open it. But before changing the material, it will wait half a second, which is the delay that we put in just before. Okay, so I don't need to do anything here. So this half a second should hide the glitch. So it'll take a bit of time to open, but it's, you know, it's a method that I found to help. See, there you go. You don't see the glitch anymore, right? So if you're finding you're getting that, then just put that delay in and reorder how I've just done on the event graph. So that's a helpful tip for you, hopefully. Cool. So there's the blueprint for a basic TV screen, and no doubt you'll be able to use this in many projects. Let's comment on this. Press C, and we'll call it TV on off. Right, cool. So what happens now? We finished the class here really, But let's suppose that being an ArcViz project, you have more than one TV in your projects. Okay, for instance, let's suppose you've got another TV in another room, and you don't want to be showing the same video, do you? Maybe you've got several TVs. Well, you can do the exact same process. We've created the media player, the texture, we've added the video for the living room video. But what would I have to do here for the second screen? Well, I'll come here, create another media player, but I'll use the bedroom video instead. I'll go to materials, then I'll create another material, get the new texture, because when I create the media player, it creates another texture, and create another TV material. Add this second texture, and then make a separate blueprint for it. Okay, that's the best way to do that. I'll do the exact same process I've done from the beginning of this class until this point for the second TV. And if you follow the same, it will work, okay? However, you might find that there are some things that don't go to plan. And Unreal does, in this build, it does have some annoying traits with videos and things that don't take a long time to load. So you put your video in, maybe it won't load. Sometimes you open the player, it changes the video you're using. And when you play it in the scene, it runs another one. And you have to switch the files. It gets a bit confusing, but it can be done. Okay. So we've developed a way that you can apply so that you can do it much more easily. I'll show you this and hopefully you'll avoid any issues that you might have otherwise found. So this is one way to do it and works really well. And we haven't found a problem with it so far. So I'll show you how to do this. So what we need to do first is I'll use the media player that I've already created and the texture file and the material. I'll use everything that I've already got. The only thing that I'll create from scratch is the blueprint. I need to create another blueprint because I have to tell Unreal which video I want to play. So before duplicating it, let me just alter this one. I'll finish it so that when I duplicate it, it's already done and then I don't need to do it all over again. And I'll keep this and I'll name it option 1. Okay, let's do that now. Option 1. Cool. And now I'll create option 2. I use this event interact. I'll create a flip-flop, which as we know is our switch for turning things on or off. And now I need to show you the full concept. Okay. Now let's see, what's the best way to show you? Let's do it this way. Okay, so there is a resource that allows you to create a playlist inside Unreal. Okay, for example, if I have lots of videos, I can create a playlist and play these videos in a sequence and in the same TV, by the way. Okay, so I can add it to the TV and play the playlist that I've created. But this is how it's helped me to avoid any issues. I create a playlist, I add the videos that I want, and in each blueprint, I want to tell the blueprint which video I want to be played, okay? So it will use the same media players, but the difference is that the playlist will change the videos when I tell it to. Make sense? Cool. Let's do this together then. So you just have to right click, choose media playlist, and I'll name it my playlist. And let's open it up. There we go. So you can see that I already have the 2 videos that I import into my project. They form my media library. On this top part, I'll create my playlist. So maybe this won't appear for you straight away. If it doesn't, go to Window and just tick those options at the top for media library. Okay. So this is how it should look. Media library and details ticked on. Cool. So what do we have to do now? So let's create our playlist. Click on here. And then I can add my videos. Okay. So on index 0, I'll use living video. The second one will be the bedroom. and I can save and close. Done. So my playlist is ready with the videos that I want. So now, instead of using the open source node, I'll use another node and I'll bring in my media player. So let's get that because we need to reference it. There we go. Nice. And from that, I'll open the playlist. Okay. So I'll click here and then go open playlist. There we go. So it's open this node here. Target is the media player itself. So I can link this. Then I choose the playlist I want to use. I can have many, but in this case, it's just this one. You can choose the video you want to be played first by the index. Here we can put 0. So this will open video 0. And Unreal always starts counting from 0, as we learned in very early classes. So the first video is 0. That's right. Then all I need to do is everything else that I've done here. So that part won't change. By the way, the only thing I can add, since we doing it slightly differently, is the media sound, but with a volume control. Okay, so we can have it in set volume multiplier, and I can create a volume node in case I want to turn it down or turn it up. For example, I set it to 1. But this is just a tip for you, just in case you have a video that's too loud or you want to turn the volume down for whatever reason. So a useful resource for you. Cool. So from this point on, it's exactly the same as before. Now you'll get the same glitch with starting a video. So you might want to use that delay. So in this part, I'll use the LED TV material and the rest keeping all the same. And here I'll do the reverse. And I can use close, which will close the media. And then when you open it again, it plays the video right from the beginning. But there is a resource that we can use, which is for pausing it. That might be quite handy. Let's put that in. So you turn the TV off. When you turn it on, it just goes back to the initial position. I'll place it here and you can choose what's best for you. So we have these 2 different options. I don't know why there's no stop node like the audio, but that's just the way it is. If you want it actually to stop, you can just use close. But I'll use pause in this case. And it's there for you if you need to use close instead. And let's connect them. Cool, so they're all linked up and that's all done. I'll click this and it will open my playlist. It opens video 0. And this is the volume adjustment if I want it. And there's a little delay. The materials change. Let's compile and save and give it a test. Okay, so we've got our TV here. And let's click on the screen. Okay, here we go. Nice, right? Now, I'll turn the volume down a little, just so you can see the difference. And I'll change the video so you can see the playlist in effect, okay? So go on to video 1, and I'll push play. And let's click on the screen. There we go. So the other video is playing. Cool, right? With the same media player, it still works. So it avoids any issues that you may have found otherwise. Using the same media player, same texture, material, you can have several videos. I must tell you though, if you've already had the experience of making a TV in Unreal, you know that it can be very challenging and there can be several bugs. I don't know why that is. Sometimes it doesn't load, the textures sometimes don't work. But I found out that making a playlist solves all of those issues and it gives you actually more control, doesn't it? It's amazing. So even if I only have one video, I tend to always use the playlist because it just seems more intuitive. I'll show you something though. I'll bring this back to 0 and let's comment on this and call it TV on off option 2. Okay, So that's another option for us, a second option. And we just made a couple of changes. Compile and save. Now let's create a second blueprint to see it in practice, okay? So we can see how you can have more than one TV in the scene playing different videos. So we duplicate that and let's add it to our scene. And we'll place them side by side so we can see them working. Okay, cool. So now we have our TVs, right? So this is blueprint 2, this one. Let's open it up. And you can see here that they look the same. The only thing I'll change here is the video index. Compile and save. How easy is that, right? Cool. We love making things simple. So now let's test it. So this one runs video 0. And now if I click on this one, it runs video 1. So we're using the same material, the same media player. And we play the other one. Okay, and this one. Cool. There's one tiny detail that may cause some trouble when we do it this way. I think you've probably worked it out, right? When video 1 is playing, if I don't stop this one, I can't start the other. Look what happens. It plays the next one, right? Now they're both playing video 2. Turn it off. Now they're both off. I'll do the opposite. Video 2 is playing. See it? Off. So why is that happening? Well, it's because I'm using the same material, remember? So when I click this TV, it's not running, right? And when I click on this one, since I didn't turn the other video off, the same material is playing, okay? Because we haven't switched back to the other material. So that's how I do it anyway. But it does have, you know, negatives and positives. However, that's the way you can get it to work and the materials to change without causing issues. But because we kept the same material, you can't play them at the same time. Unless you're in a different room, of course, you're not going to notice, are you? So there's that little bit of detail you just have to bear in mind. Otherwise, you know, you might have a bit of trouble. But there are many workarounds to these sorts of things. Just use a different material if you need to. So maybe we'll turn one TV on, go to another room, turn on another one, and then you're back to playing it how you would expect it to work in real life. So what do we have to do then to try and work out another way? Well, we'd have to create a condition so it doesn't happen. So when I push play here, I have to turn the other one off. I can't have them both running at the same time, and this will guarantee then that bug won't happen. So that's one way to do it. Let's try that. Oh, but there is one thing that you should remember to do in each scene with the TVs, that you'll have to reference one TV in the other. So let's just explain what I mean about that. If I create a variable here, to make a direct link, do you remember this? I'll name it TV2. And then I bring this here and look for the reference. Okay, the object reference. So I'm on LED TV1. I'll add LED TV2 and set it as a reference object. I've created the object reference now. Then I make it public, compile and save. Then I have my TV2 here. Which one is it? This one, right? And now I have a reference for this one inside this one. Great, so let's go. So now we have our reference. Let's add it here. Let's see what we can do with it, right? So since this is our reference from the blueprint, we need to link this. Okay, so just drag out from there, and media player variable we'll need, or what did we name it? There we go, my media player, which is the same variable. So let's link it to get media player. Okay, so my media player variable's here. I can access the media player from the other blueprint, right? It's perfect. And I'll create this one. Just pull out from, yeah. Let me just think about the best way to do this now. So there's a node that's called is playing. Let's get that one. And this node, it signalizes works out if the media player is already playing. It creates a variable. Okay, so I'll promote this to a variable and I'll name this is playing. Just name that is playing. Cool. I'll add this to the flow. And there we go. Okay. And let's drag this over here just to make a bit more room. And let's add this to the flow. I'll create a variable here. Let's link this. When I push play, it's going to verify this. Okay, it's going to check it. It will get my second TV. It's media player. Verify if the video is playing. Okay, so check if it's already playing or not. And it's going to store it here as true or false. So if it's playing, it's true. If not, it's false. So what do I do with this information? Well, I'll create a condition for it to happen. So I'll create a branch. That's the node that we've seen before, right? The conditional node. So I need some more room. So let's just squeeze it down here, just so we don't confuse things. So I created a branch here. So if it's not playing, if this variable is false, it's going to come here, right? So if this variable is false, if nothing's playing, then nothing needs to change. But what if it's true? Well, if it is true, let me show you what you have to do. Let's just pull out from here. So I have to close my player, which is open, and I close it and move on. Okay. If it's false, it will just come in and move straight along. If it's true, it will have to go through here first. And let's just see if this works. Okay. So this is verifying the blueprint, TV1, and verifying TV2. So let's push play. So this is working so far. It's playing that. If I press 2, it's playing here. Now, if I click on TV1, it closed the other one. But it's still playing because it has to change material, right? But you notice it closed. But closing is not enough. It will stop the video, that's fine. But I need it then to change the material. So what can we do to make sure that it completes the cycle, right? Well, let me show you what you need to do for that. I'll just make a bit more space first of all. We'll organize this later on so it's a bit more pleasing on the eye, but just go with this for now. I changed the material here, okay, to the TV material. Since I have my reference here, I'll get my static mesh. So let me find get TV. So I got the static mesh from here. This is the one, right? So then I'll set it as to set material. And which material do we want? The same material that I have here, right? So let's get that and put it in, what is it called? Yes, get that. And let's just put it in here. Nice. Okay, let's place that up there. Cool. So let's go back a bit. I've created a variable at this point to check if the player is working on another TV. So if it comes in, there's a direct variable, a direct connection here. I got the media player, checked if it's playing, stored this information here, and then it gets to the branch, doesn't it? With this information, a condition. If it's playing, if it's not playing, it's false. If it's false, it will open the video like we've done previously, right? But what if it is playing? Well, then I want to close the video here, and I want to change the material because it has to turn the TV off, so it's not playing anymore. And I've applied the TV static mesh for the TV. I've told it to execute a set material here. So I'll add it to this flow right here, and let's see what happens. I think I might need to place my character a bit closer, don't you? Okay, so let's play. So that's working. And let's try the other one. Okay, now let's try TV1. So it's closed it now. That didn't work for some reason. At least it closed it. But let's see why it didn't stop the other TV. Let's see what's wrong here. So we've turned it off. We turned it on rather. I forgot to change the material index, didn't I? There we go. So it should work this time. Let's do it again. Don't forget to do that. Okay, so this one's playing. Perfect. Over here. There we go. So it stopped the other one and played the new video. So I've stopped the video and changed the material. Basically, what I did was turn off the TV via a blueprint. And I think we looked at that in the connection class as well on blueprints. So I've connected this blueprint to this one, right? So that when I could create this condition, it knew which one to turn on or off. So hopefully now you'll find that works for you. There's no bugs in this scene, and hopefully a useful tip. If you need to have more than one TV, use this method, okay? If you have to have more than one TV in your project. But you know, it might be just because this is the limitation of Unreal, but hopefully you've understood that there is a way around these limitations, and this would be a nice tool to use when you've got multiple TVs. You want to go from one room to another, or maybe there's more than one screen in a particular space. So there we go. I've created two completely independent TVs, and of course I wouldn't have to do this if I just had one. But deliberately doing it helps us to get a fuller understanding of how we can, you know, take our blueprint knowledge to another level and not just be limited to just one television, for example. It's good to be able to use these advanced techniques so we can make our scene more interactive. So let's just go over things again. We need to make a new media player to create a video texture. And that's what we did here at the beginning, to get the first blueprint that we had. Okay, so then obviously the same thing we'll have to do for TV2. Of course, now I would delete this blueprint, then duplicate it and only change the references. Okay, so I would reverse the reference so it worked from 1 to 2 or from 2 to 1, but I won't do it. I think you've got the idea. Okay, so just so you understand, this is why I've set it up like this. Now we could have stopped at this point and moved on, but since we found we had a lot of problems with TVs in ArcViz, we wanted to show you other solutions so you can work around it, and if you came into the same problems that we were finding. So yes, it is a bit more complex, but hopefully it helps you understand that whilst Unreal isn't quite perfect, it does have the ability for you to make a near perfect project, right? And, you know, to avoid any issues is always welcome, isn't it? Okay, great. So we finished this class then. We've learned how to work with several different nodes like open source, like close, adding sound, media player, materials. There's a lot of information in this class. And it all seems very simple. It's just, you know, turning a TV on, but you can see the amount of procedures and concepts that we went through just to execute this. So this is it for now. I hope you've enjoyed this class on TV blueprints. We'll create more blueprints from this point going forward. And if you have any doubts, any questions, you can watch the class again, of course. But I hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Sometimes, you know, we find that we run through a topic quite quickly, and maybe you find that sometimes you can't quite keep up. Well, there's the beauty of being able to watch things again to check that you understand the principles and the workflows. And any questions you have, you can just go over them again. But of course, you can always reach out to us and ask us directly. But for now, we'll see you in the next class when we'll create another blueprint.